Isn't Transformers such an awesome franchise? Giant alien robots fighting each other? What could be more awesome? Well, how about if Spider-Man was there? What about Ava Unit 1? And Mickey Mouse? Well, you can bet all three of those have happened. The crossover is a common event in modern fiction, and Transformers is no stranger. The Autobots and Decepticons have run into many characters from other dimensions, some fitting and some just completely ridiculous. Join me as we look at the many Transformers crossovers. The very first character to appear in the Transformers universe that was from another series was very early on in its life, as early as the 3rd issue of the Marvel comic. The writers believed that putting Spider-Man on the cover would increase the sales, and so Spider-Man made an appearance in issue 3 of the Transformers Marvel comic, encountering Gears midway through a battle with the Decepticons and begins to fight him, only stopping when Gears explained that he was one of the good guys. Have to love how Spider-Man went straight for the one that was helping the humans instead of the Decepticons, who were dropping cluster bombs on soldiers. Just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. The two then proceed to invade a Decepticon fortress in order to rescue Sparkplug Witwicky, who was captured in earlier issues, though in the process Gears falls through a hole in the ground after Megatron shoots a hole in the floor. Apparently, even though Gears was seen flying earlier, this meant he was offline. After finding out what it's like to fight Megatron,
where is the cube?
Spider-Man took him to the other Autobots mourning his death, but the other Autobots didn't seem to care, though this was because Gears could be revived with ease. Then Spider-Man left and was never seen again, as did all future references of the Transformers universe taking place alongside the Marvel universe, barring some references to the Savage Lands. Nick Fury also appeared in the issue to make a reference to Godzilla. So why didn't we get a Godzilla and Transformers crossover? Huh? While not appearing in the Marvel US comics, the Marvel UK Transformers comics saw the appearance of the character Death's Head, a character created by Simon Furman for one-time use in the Transformers comics. Unfortunately for Furman, to avoid having the character become part of the Transformers copyright, Death's Head had to appear in his own series, and so the strip High Noon text was created. Death's Head then went on to be used quite a bit by Marvel, appearing in a Doctor Who comic and even got his own comic series, before becoming a D-list villain in modern Marvel comics. His role in the Marvel UK Transformers comic was quite an important one, as he was present for much of the comic's important strips, and throughout his time in the comic he battled both Galvatron and Rodimus, and even killed both Bumblebee and Shockwave, among others. Death's Head proved to be quite a popular character with readers, though he ended up falling into a time vortex and disappearing. Whoops, yes? Of course, the biggest and most prevalent Transformer crossover is with Hasbro's other major franchise, G.I. Joe, a combination that really doesn't work, and yet they keep doing it anyway. The very first crossover between the two occurred reasonably early into the Transformers' comic run, with a 4-issue limited series. The story focuses on a nuclear power plant known as Power Station Alpha that both Cobra and the Decepticons have their eyes on, and so work together to steal it. This is until Cobra works out that Shockwave wishes to use the station to destroy the Earth. The Autobots and the Joes join the fray, and work together with Cobra to defeat the Decepticons and destroy the power station. To be completely honest, this crossover only serves to kill off Bumblebee and bring him back as Goldbug, which is the only long-lasting occurrence in the entire event. Further reference to the G.I. Joes inhabiting the world of the Transformers is made in the Generation 2 comic, which began in the G.I. Joe run where Cobra discovers Megatron and grants him a new and extremely powerful body, in exchange for some Cybertronian technology. What could go wrong, right? Megatron then uses this body to introduce the audience to how kid-friendly Generation 2 is, which eventually leads into the Transformers comic where Cobra and G.I. Joe made an appearance in the 2nd issue. Hotspot is on the run from Cobra agents, who wish to gain even more Cybertronian technology, though Hotspot basically kills himself to avoid this happening. Yay. Devil Jews took over the crossover mantle in 2003 with their own continuity that G.I. Joe and the Transformers share. In their first 6-issue tale, Cobra stumbles across the Ark, and captures and studies the Cybertronians, turning them into battle machines for their own purposes. The Transformers eventually break free and begin their war anew, though the Autobots are joined by G.I. Joe thanks to Wheeljack and Bumblebee, who escape captivity. The good guys come out on top at the end of the story, and the Decepticons are all killed except Starscream, who Cobra Commander keeps as his own pet. A sequel to this story came in the form of G.I. Joe vs. the Transformers 2, as a 4-issue series released in 2004. This time, the plot is completely ridiculous. Though Megatron is dead, Shockwave still rules over Cybertron. Cobra Commander manages to take over the Cybertronian computer Teletran 3, and ends up causing the computer to send random Transformers to different points in time on Earth. Yeah, that makes sense. Both G.I. Joes and Cobra members team up to locate the missing bots before they cause a time storm due to their being there. This leads to some interesting plots, such as Optimus Prime being stuck in the 1930s alongside the Stunticons, and Ratchet being trapped in a dystopian future and becoming a badass lone hero. This continuity would receive a third entry with G.I. Joe vs. the Transformers, The Art of War, released as 5 issues in 2006. This time, Cobra unleashes Serpent Oar, an incredibly powerful super soldier who believes himself to be the son of Megatron. I bet he has daddy issues. He heads to Cybertron and reunites the remaining Decepticon forces, and they seek to capture Optimus Prime, so Serpenter can get a hold of the Matrix of Leadership. When he does, he is turned into Serpenter Prime, but soon realizes the error of his ways, though his consciousness is then destroyed when Cobra Commander attempts to take control of his body, but fries his brain in the process. Whoops. Also, Bumblebee dies in this crossover. They actually killed Bumblebee. For real. You can't do that. For some reason, Devil Jews decided they needed another series, and so the two-part G.I. Joe vs. the Transformers Black Horizon was created, seeking to incorporate the crappiest things about both franchises, such as Cobra La and the Pretenders, and making an adventure out of it, and is much more light-hearted in tone than the 3 series prior. The plot follows Unicron and Cobra La working together to take over the Earth, and Optimus and a small group of Autobots heading to Earth to stop them. Cobra La also has with them the captured Joe Colton, the original G.I. Joe, and he manages to break free and attempt to defeat his captors, while Optimus Prime takes on Bludgeon and the Pretenders, and Cosmos and Flint take on Unicron. Dreamwave had their own turn at the G.I. Joe and Transformers crossover, which was a 6-issue mess. Set in World War II, Dreamwave's crossover contained art that made everything impossible to understand, and an absolutely terrible story. Said story had Cobra discovering the Matrix and reactivating the Decepticons, using them to ravage the world. A team called G.I. Joe is created to combat them, and they end up awakening the Autobots, and what happens next is obvious. However, the ending of this horrible story sees the Joes destroying the Matrix, and in the process, killing all the Transformers. Oh, okay then. A sequel to this story was for some reason created called G.I. Joe vs. the Transformers Divided Front, but only one issue was published before Dreamwave went bankrupt. And it was a shame too, because this one looked a lot better than the previous one. That's not saying much though. For some strange and unknown reason, the writers of the movie G.I. Joe The Rise of Cobra claim that the film was set in the same continuity as the Transformers movies. Okay then. The character Marissa Fairborn of the Transformers cartoon has been confirmed to be the daughter of Flint and Lady J of G.I. Joe, suggesting that the Transformers cartoon takes place in the future after the G.I. Joe cartoon. Further evidence of this is presented in the episode Only Human, in which Cobra Commander makes an appearance, though calling himself Old Snake. Following the defeat of Cobra, Snake was hired by the mob boss Victor Draith, and after harnessing the power of synthoid technology, put Rodimus, Ultra Magnus, RC, and Springer into human bodies. Of course, the Autobots return to normal, though Old Snake gets away at the end of the episode, leaving his fate unknown. G.I. Joe also made a one-time appearance in the Marvel UK issue Ancient Relics. In perhaps the most god-awful thing I've ever seen in my entire life, IDW in 2014 released their take on the G.I. Joe and Transformers crossover, with a 12-issue series containing the adventures of the two. Their take had an interesting twist, however, as their art style and storytelling attempted to mimic that of the Silver Age of comics, however ends up causing the story to make no sense whatsoever. As such, I honest to God could not tell you what happens in almost every page. Something about Megatron killing Grimlock, Bumblebee doesn't have a body for some reason, Earth gets destroyed at some point I think. I have no idea what's going on, don't read this one. In 2016, IDW topped their previous garbage with their Revolution crossover event, which collided the worlds of many Hasbro properties, including Transformers, G.I. Joe, Rom the Space Knight, Mask, and the Micronauts. The plot saw the group teaming up to defend Earth from species of dire wraiths, who attempted to take over the Earth. The crossover had a long-lasting impact on all of the titles, however, such as Skywarp currently being a member of G.I. Joe. Revolution spawned not only a limited series, but also several standalone Revolution issues. More on Revolution another day. Though the two were originally rivaling toy lines, after Hasbro bought the rights to them, the GoBots made frequent appearances in the Transformers universe and stories, commonly as cameos. A running gag amongst Transformers writers was to feature dead GoBots in their stories. Yeah, take that, you stupid rip-offs. However, recently Fun Publications' Trans-Tech series has not only had separate stories of the Renegades and Guardians, but also ones where the GoBots are in the Transformers universe. Cycle even once held his own column called Renegade Rhetoric, where he answered the questions of the public. Looks like GoBots got a happy ending after all. In one of the most bizarre examples of a crossover, in 2009 Takara Tomy released a line of toys under the name of Disney Label, and made transforming figures of Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Buzz Lightyear.
To infinity and beyond!
I really don't want to think about the implications of an Optimus Prime. I think this is the weirdest one. There can't be anything weirder than this, right? Right? Nope, never mind, I found one weirder. In 2007, as part of a promotion for the live-action movie, Hasbro released 2 Mr. Potato Head figures. Mr. Potato Head figures, god damn it Hasbro, of Optimus and Bumblebee, with hilarious names such as Optimus Prime and Bumblespud. Aside from haunting your nightmares, the figures did exactly what you'd expect from a Mr. Potato Head. Hasbro decided they weren't done just yet, however, and quite recently in 2014 and 16 released more of these abominations based on Rescue Bots characters. Why? To make matters worse, in 2015 Takara released a transformable Hello Kitty figure under their Q Transformers line, as well as figures of the Evangelion Unit 0, 1, and 2, and 2 main characters from an anime called Kamisuagi Rope. Oh, and Snoopy, because why the hell not? In 2009, IDW produced what is the perfect example for a terrible and unnecessary crossover: the New Avengers and the Transformers. The plot results from Megatron activating Phase 2 of his infiltration protocol, setting up a base in Latveria, the country owned by Dr. Doom, and he attacks neighbouring countries, blaming Latveria for everything, which would, of course, create a war. Also, he stole Doom's Psycho Prism. Both the Avengers and the Autobots investigate, and have that whole inevitable fight thing, though as one would expect, the Transformers essentially mop the floor with the Avengers, which is the only thing done right in this entire crossover. Come on, you know it's true. Then Iron Man shows up with his giant Transformer-sized armor and turns the tide of battle until everyone works out that they shouldn't be fighting each other. Then they team up to defeat the Decepticons and Dr. Doom. The crossover ran for 4 issues, but the major issue with it is a portrayal of the Transformers, which is pretty much how every writer treats them whenever there are major human characters in a comic book. They treat them like robots. Also, at the end of the story, Iron Man suspects that the Quinjet is actually Ramjet, a point never expanded upon ever. This crossover did have some cool parts, though overall was just pointless and poorly executed. Also, the writers clearly did their research on the Transformers characters, as you can see. Yeah, Prowl is my favorite Transformers medic. Ah well, at least it can't get worse. Right? In 2011, IDW's Chris Ryall pitched the concept of a potential Justice League and Transformers crossover to DC, though it was shot down due to the fact that DC was too busy with their New 52 reboot. Some images have been revealed as to what the crossover would have contained, such as an Optimus Prime Green Lantern, Aquaman vs the Seacons, Batman teaming up with Prowl, oh my god, that would be so, and Wonder Woman's invisible jet becoming a Transformer. While it probably would have been terrible, Optimus Prime is a Green Lantern, come on! Transformers Mode Ava was a crossover created in 2014 by Takara Tomy to market their special edition Ava Unit 1 coloured Optimus Prime figure. The 4-part text story was available on Takara Tomy's website. When the Angels appear once again on Earth, Misato and the rest of NERV swears to stop them, though luckily the Autobots arrive to help them out, and discover that one of the Angels has been taken over by Starscream's ghost, which is all kinds of awesome. To combat this new threat, NERV deploys Ava Unit 1, which Optimus then scans and acquires the size and colours of. He uses this newfound power to combat Starscream, but it still wasn't enough. With the help of his other Autobots, Optimus manages to slice through Starscream's AT field with his axe and destroy the Angel, though causing Starscream's ghost to escape in the process. By the end of it, NERV renovates Optimus' trailer and turns it into a maintenance facility for the Optimus Prime Ava, and Prime swears to defend Earth from both Decepticons and Angels. While the crossover in itself is pretty awesome, one must wonder where the hell Shinji was during all of this. In 2011, Hasbro released a line of toys called Transformers Crossovers, that involve lines of both Marvel Comics and Star Wars characters as Transformers. Yes, really, I don't know, Hasbro's weird. As if it couldn't get any more ridiculous, both lines had accompanying storylines. The Marvel side of it was due to Mr. Fantastic creating transforming battle armor for the Marvel superheroes. For whatever reason he decided this was necessary, I have no idea. The Star Wars storyline was that both Sith and Jedi had converted their ships into transforming battlesuits as well, for some reason. The fact that they somehow managed to make a mech suit made from the Death Star is both impressive and concerning. Darth Vader has also apparently juked it out with Optimus Prime, as seen in the packaging art of the Tactics toy line, which had a set that contained both Vader and Optimus. So, unless Vader's grown to Transformers size or Optimus has shrunk, I don't know. And in contrast, Luke has apparently also battled Megatron. Did I mention one time C-3PO and R2-D2 showed up in Transformers Victory? While not technically a Transformers crossover, both Optimus and Megatron made an appearance in the 2003 game Dream Mix TV World Fighters, which was a crossover fighting game produced by Konami, Takara, and Hudson Soft. Dream Mix contained such characters as Bomberman, Simon Belmont from Castlevania, and Solid Snake. What the hell? What? Is this real? The game also contained a stage with a Generation 2 style Devastator in the background. I need this game. This is amazing. While everyone's greatly desired My Little Pony and Transformers crossover has never happened, IDW did make convention-exclusive covers for My Little Pony comics crossing over with characters from both franchises. The covers themselves are pretty awesome, except for the Starscream one, which honestly terrifies me, and also brings back some very bad memories. IDW also once made special covers for many of their titles containing characters from the comic Archie to celebrate 75 years of the comic, and Transformers was one of those titles. In 2015, the Nintendo video game Splatoon held a Splatfest with a Transformers theme, with participants being able to choose between either the Autobot or Decepticon factions. Kelly states that she is a fan of Optimus Prime, while Marie prefers the Decepticons and thinks that Soundwave, Shockwave, and Megatronus are awesome. This is why Marie is my favourite. While it could have just been seen as an advertisement, it is interesting to note the in-game lore and plausibility of this happening. According to the producer of Splatoon, Callie and Marie received the themes for the Splatfest from messages that were sent to them 12,000 years in the past that they believe is a message from a higher power. This raises the question of whether Transformers is a brand in the Splatoon world, or whether the events of the Robots in Disguise cartoon had occurred in those 12,000 years ago, and the message contained information about the Autobots and Decepticons. I'm going to hope it was the latter, because that means that somewhere in the Splatoon universe, the Transformers are out there. Transformers is no stranger to sponsorship deals. Friggin' sellouts. While there have been some things like the Mountain Dew bot of the 2007 movie, the Cybertronians have actually crossed over with Chester, of the Cheetos brand. I could not make this up if I tried. A short comic was released in Russia as promotion for Age of Extinction, and Cheetos. The comic tells the usual tale of the Transformers, with the Autobots and Decepticons fighting an epic war for many years. However, the story takes on a new and delicious twist, as apparently the Decepticons have been stealing energy from artifacts from within the Cheetos galaxy. What? And the Autobots need your help to steal those artifacts to stop the Decepticons. So it's basically an advertisement for a game. Kind of feel like some Cheetos now. Oh, and let's not talk about Pepsi Convoy. Pepsi Convoy is left best not talked about. Every single year, publishing company IDW Comics holds a massive crossover event that involves several of their titles. While many of these did not involve multiple characters meeting, such as 2016's Deviations, their crossover events did usually involve a massive threat that threatens the world of many of their titles. The first was their Infestation crossover, which involved a horde of zombies invading the universes of the Ghostbusters, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Star Trek, all thanks to a portal being opened in the universe of CVO, one of IDW's original titles. In the Transformers story, a shuttle crash lands in a human city, and zombies emerge, quickly turning the town. The Autobots arrive to combat the threat and are quickly faced with Galvatron, Cyclonus, Bayonet, and Scourge. Wait, what do you mean you don't know who Bayonet is? You know, Bayonet. She's a timeless Transformers character, you don't remember her? Oh, that's strange. Or not, as it turns out, as Cup is the only one free from the hypnosis that Bayonet is putting everyone over. She was simply making them believe she had been there the whole time. Plot twist. For Bayonet is really Brit, a vampire from the CVO universe that was being used as a conduit by the zombie hive mind. The Undermind, as it is called, then begins to absorb all the Cybertronians, and learns of Cybertron from Cup and builds a portal to get there, until Cup makes a sacrifice, changing the portal's destination to the dead universe and causing himself, Brit, and the zombies to go into it and disappear. Don't worry, Cup gets better. A sequel to Infestation would be made in 2012, entitled Infestation 2, and saw a group of beings called the Elder Gods breaking free of their captivity from outside space-time and attacking multiple universes, like the zombie Undermind before them. And this was caused yet again by CVO. God damn it, those guys suck at their job. The Transformers installment was not set in a normal IDW continuity this time, however, as instead it was set in the previously established Hearts of Steel universe, a steampunk universe where the Transformers awoke during the 19th century. In this story, the Decepticons are possessed by the Elder Gods, and proceed to attack towns until the Autobots are alerted to their presence. Knowing they cannot face the gods alone, the Autobots seek the help of Nikola Tesla to revive their offline leader Optimus Prime, which they eventually do, and Prime faces the Elder Gods in an epic battle, and eventually manages to defeat them and return everything to normal. Seriously, this story is so epic. I bet the others are just as cool. What? No. We would visit the Hearts of Steel universe once again in IDW's next crossover event, the 2014 X-Files Conspiracy, which for once does not involve any dimension-hopping alien forces. In this, a conspiracy group known as the Lone Gunmen seek out some of the world's biggest conspiracies: ghost hunters, mutant turtles, and a crow, in order to find a vaccine for a virus created by an organization known as Skylogic System. The very same group has kidnapped Ratchet and held him prisoner, which eventually caused Optimus, Bumblebee, and the Gunmen to meet, though this time we see the Autobots in a modern world. The group then works together to rescue Ratchet and gain what they need to create a vaccine. Bumblebee also becomes ninja buddies with one of the gunmen, and it's adorable. What I'm more concerned about is the fact that the Hearts of Steel Autobots, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Ghostbusters share the same universe. That is insanely awesome. Going a year back in 2013, the crossover event was Mars Attacks, which saw the aliens of the titular film invading the Earth that the Autobots and Decepticons war on, as well as several other universes. Interrupting the end of the battle between the two Cybertronian factions, the Martians managed to trap the warring Autobots and Decepticons within a force field, and both Megatron and Optimus are forced to begrudgingly work together to defeat the Martians and send them away from Earth. This crossover is a joy to read, incorporating fantastic humour and jabs at the original Generation 1 cartoon, as well as giving Cosmos a use for his alternate mode, as he manages to disguise himself among the Martian ship. This is easily my favourite crossover out of all the ones we've covered. Angry Birds Transformers was a franchise headed by a Transformers-themed Angry Birds game published for mobile platforms by Rovio in 2014. The series also contained an IDW comic book tie-in and toy line. The app and comic book follow basically the same story, of the Allspark egg landing on Piggy Island, granting the bird and pig inhabitants Transformer bodies, turning them into the Autobots and Deceptihogs. The two battle once again until the arrival of the Eggbots, who threaten to turn the island into metal. For more on the app, watch this video I did on Transformers video games. The comic book was a 4-issue limited series and told the full-length tale of the birds and pigs combating the Eggbots to save their island. The comic begins and ends with a Transformers segment depicting a battle between the Autobots and Decepticons in which Megatron and his army attack an Autobot ship in order to steal the Allspark, though the artifact is lost in a quantum tunnel and lands in the Angry Birds universe, where it is found by the birds. The end of the crossover sees the Allspark return to its rightful place, and the birds and pigs converted back into their usual forms, though the Starscream pig finds himself in the Transformers universe. You better hope the Decepticons don't like bacon. Hasbro released a comic entitled Unit E at New York Comic Con in 2011, which was their first attempt at a Revolution-style crossover featuring a large number of characters from their various brands. Though the Transformers did not make a direct appearance, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Jazz, and RC can be glimpsed in a splash page in one of the holes to other dimensions. These many crossovers have given us but a glimpse into the Transformers and expanded multiverse, which show that though characters may be dimensions apart, it's not rare for them to meet up and have adventures together. Since we've got Hello Kitty Transformers, who knows who the Autobots and Decepticons will cross over next? The possibilities are endless. But seriously, we have Hello Kitty but not a Gundam crossover? Come on guys, get on it!